most modded end updates suck. Not because they're poorly made mods, it's just that the modder always gets the point of the end wrong. It shouldn't be full of this familiar life. That would just be the never update again, which would make the end so not unique. The end should be dead, but not empty like what it is now. However, a small problem, I don't make mods. But I can build biomes, so I built biomes. Yeah. Time-lapse. This first biome I'm doing is supposed to be floating islands. Wow, how imaginative. But these are different though, because instead of the biome being on top of one giant island, this biome is a bunch of little floating islands. But only floating islands would obviously be boring. So I made them connected by giant chorus looking branches. If you're wondering why there's a bunch of giant floating shapes, well, you probably not actually. You did just see what I did with those first ones. I'm just putting them there to distort them into the rocks, because placing them by hand would just be horrible, and I don't do that anymore. And while it would probably be alien and weird and endy to have giant floating shapes, it is just better with everything being a bit distorted. And with the distortion on the rocks, I made sure to change the way it was a lot, so they look even weirder and uniquer. Like, some are somewhat smoothly distorted, and some have little thin bits, some have weird growth looking things, and some are being torn apart by literally nothing. I just think the smaller chunks and blocks drifting off into space looks really cool. I'd love to do that one day. Now I'm adding some giant obsidian pillars, but oh no, they're all useless. Like me. For this section of the time-lapse, first I'm adding detail to the pillars, and by that I mean those randomly placed crying obsidians. Also I'm adding those very unique structures, but I also used the distort tool on them to make it more desolate, I guess, and destroyed, because that's how it should be. And now finally I'm adding a ton of those stringy chorus plant looking things, which with them I tried to make every rock connected because of the aesthetic or something. I also made them wrap around the pillars because that's what it's like in the build that I'm copying. Oh yeah, have I mentioned that this biome is very inspired by the end biome I built in this video? But just think of this version as its improved, not that distant cousin. Now I'm adding a bunch of stringy bits onto the chorus branches to... I'm not sure, to be honest. I just thought it would look cool, and it kinda does. But I didn't record all of me doing that in the time-lapse because it'd probably just get boring and I wouldn't have enough things to talk about. Ooh, look, a rock. And also some other stuff, I suppose. So this is the tool. It probably won't be that long. Not much to see that you haven't already. This is what the chorus things are like up close. I decided to put broken up end city bits in this biome because the end should feel alien and desolate because it's the end. So this is kind of desolate and weird. It's floating, kind of destroyed a bit, and there's nothing much to see about these pillars except this one, where normally there's not that much crying obsidian on the outside, but here I made there be a lot more. It's like, imagine that's what it's like on the inside. I don't think I told you about this, but I made a chorus thingy grow into this really big part of the end city. Same with this one. And also, so like this doesn't drift off, I made this holding it, which was inspired by... Oh, that was odd looking. Anyway, here's the biome it was inspired by, from that one video I told you about. You can kind of see where the ideas came from. It's quite different, with the chorus stuff, a lot more like those. The pillars are smaller, I think. It's one actual big island instead of a bunch of floating ones. But, well, yeah, you can see where the inspiration came from, right? Well, I guess that's it for this tour. Ignore the destruction in the background there. I got bored. So we're on to the next time-lapse. Now for this one, I had to build it quite differently to the last biome because this is an actual island, but still different from the usual end islands, because if it wasn't, that would be a really terrible video. So as you can see, I have a ton of spikes on the bottom because cool. If you're wondering why I made the island vibrant purple, that's because my weirdly massive eyes, I don't know why I made them that big, it was a long time ago, okay? Are pretty bad, and I couldn't see it properly when it was all made of cherry wood. Now, wow, what a surprise, I'm distorting it all because that's weird and makes them look more natural. Yes, how natural, a giant spiky purple island floating in space. I only made the spikes purple because, I don't know, it didn't seem right to make the entire thing purple. The vibes were just off with that top part. Now, before you think that I'm turning it into a giant Swiss cheese, I'm going to tell you my idea for this biome. Basically, it's a bunch of geysers with end portal blocks inside. That there was no need to say basically, that's literally the entire idea. But, as you can see, I hope, instead of the actual portal blocks in the geysers, I'm putting that blue wool with the glass on top because the end gateways are end gateways, obviously. But I forgot that because I'm used to building in the overworld where touching them does nothing. But surprisingly, in the end gateways work as end gateways. And the glass on top is to be replaced by barrier blocks. Now I can hear you saying, but just use barrier blocks to stop yourself from entering the portal. But you see, that was actually a lie, I can't hear you saying that. My hearing sucks and this is a recording. And also, why would you talk into a screen? That's a bit weird. Shut up. Anyway, the real reason for that is that I can do this. And I'm not turning it off. Try to add a little gradient inside the geysers to make them look a little nicer. And oh wow, a cut, because I realised doing all of the geysers will take a while, which it did, and therefore be a very boring, repetitive time lapse with a lot of cuts for when I did more stuff. But I had to record my eyes. Forgot they made beacons. Well, that was a bit I had to record. But also I did some other things here, like add multiple bits of texture into the ground. Wow. Wow, would you look at that? I got bored again and threw the end city. But other than that, look, it's the biome I made. But this time, unlike the last tour, I won't just be showing you around something you've already seen. I actually have ideas for this biome. Well, that's a lie. It's just one idea. Also unrelated, but this seat plate looked green to anyone else. Oh, please stop that, I don't want... It seems a little bit green, doesn't it? But anyway, my idea is that jumping into one of these would teleport you to another one of the geysers, and you'd be given slow falling so you could actually... Oh no, I'm falling down again. Oh, that was inconvenient. Oh no. Trying to do the tour here, it would work better than this. I would get launched up here, given the slow fallings, just enough to land on the ground nicely without falling back in. You know, originally I didn't have the idea of the portal, I was gonna make these pitch black nothings, but this is so much better. And if you think these geysers would be overpowered in the real game, you're probably right. But it's not my job to balance the game. And also I probably shouldn't be calling them geysers since they won't be doing anything like that. The portals won't be expelled from them. But entities will, so maybe they are geysers. But yeah, that's it. I think this still fits with the atmosphere. Go away! Oh yeah, by the way, in the hypothetical reality where this happens, those beacons are dead. Yeah, you. Well then, time for the final biome. Yeah, that's what I meant by them being like end gateways. Now this last biome will be different from the other two biomes. Well, obviously, that's not really that surprising considering the other two were different from each other as well. But anyway, as you could see, I'm trying to make an actual island that isn't just the 7 giant cubes. So I got more than 7 cubes and smoothed and distorted them and smoothed again. And I think the island turned out decently okay and end-like. And now I'm adding those giant hair-looking things on the bottom because those are trunks for trees that I'm gonna build. In Minecraft, oh my god, me referencing me in my last video that you should watch after this. What a surprise. And those smaller hairs are gonna be... I don't know, past me hasn't decided yet. And now, as you can see, I'm adding those amazing looking leaves. The reason that they're so flat is because they're supposed to be used as giant platforms, since the floor can't be used due to the fact that this biome is actually going to be upside down. But I only mentioned it now because I didn't feel like telling you earlier. I distorted their edges because, you know, the reasons I said before, weird and end and blah blah. I really like that gradient I added just then onto the leaves. I'm not sure why I like it so much, it's just the blue to blue looks really nice for some reason. And I had added a bit of copper grates on the edges for leafier bits. Oh, it's upside down now. Yeah, I'm building it this way because it just seems easier this way, and the easy option is always the best option. And now past me's finally decided what to do with the smaller hairs, which is make them look like cauliflower. No, that's not the right one. Dandelions, that's it. I made them slightly less oxidized copper grates because variation, and it still fits with the colour scheme, which I haven't mentioned yet. So it's just the particle colours from the end portal blocks. So the blue and slightly green aren't that out of place in the end. And on the inside of the dandelions I added some skulk, but the blue from it wasn't visible enough, so I added some extra diamond blocks to make the blue more visible. Then I added some very basic texture to the ground and added some oranger grates on the dandelions. And now you can get a good view of how it's supposed to look with the very flat leaves not looking too bad. Speaking of leaves, bye. Ooh, wow, what's this? A random floating wall block I got. I forgot to get rid of. Anyway, oh look, the biome. What a surprise, I could never seen this coming. So this is it. I didn't focus on the time-lapse, so I added bits of sculpt to the trunks to make them more interesting. I just like doing that. But luckily, this biome also... I just had flashbacks then. But also, as I thought, this biome has a new mob. Well, I say new, but isn't exactly new. It's actually one of the mob vote losers, and you'll be able to see it there. No, whoops. Right there, that dripstone. This piece of dripstone is supposed to represent the Great Hunger from the original mob vote. This time, my idea is that it's crawling around in the ground, but that's above you, of course. When you're walking down here, it'll go ahead, and and it'll slowly move towards you. If you walk under it, it'll jump down to attack you and do great hungry stuff, you know? Yeah, I'm really imaginative. Also, I wanted to add vegetation up here, but, well, it would be upside down, so it would just look kinda bad, wouldn't it? And if you were wondering, for some reason, this is what it's like on top. Yeah, how interesting. Also, I know I said it's supposed to be kind of wastelandy and desolate, and I've gone and built a biome full of vegetation, but I think this vegetation is weird enough to fit in, since there's nothing else in the game that resembles it. Oh yeah, by the way, this is future editing me, because past me was too stupid to come up with an outro. So a big video for the next one, I hope. Just had the idea for it for almost a year, or maybe it might not be the next one if it takes too long, and in that case I'll probably just rush a sequel to this video, because I still have some more ideas for biomes. So anyway, thanks for watching, like if you enjoyed, and ooh look, I'm spinning now. Wait.